Hi everyone, Papa here, and today's episode features my bicycle ride around Red House Lake in Allegany State Park during our annual camping trip last summer. There I am, going past our tent site and heading toward the trail. Still on the A-Loop tent site area here. Turning now to head toward the trail itself that goes around the lake. Beautiful summer day. Temperature was high 70s. Partly cloudy, a lot of sunshine though. Just an all-around pleasant day in the park. We enjoy getting out on the trail whenever we're camping, doing some bicycling, walking, running, other activities. Anytime we get a chance to get out there. And from time to time I get a chance to go out by myself, as I did on this day. Turning now to take the trail up to cross the main road. Approaching a bridge. Crossing Stoddard Creek. And there's the stop sign for the road. Stopping here to check traffic and then proceeding on across the road onto the bike trail and then down toward the portion that goes around the lake itself. This is a paved bike path that goes in many areas of the park, both in the Red House side of the park and in the Quaker side of the park. And the Red House Lake Loop itself is about 2.7 miles, and it's an easy route for biking, running, walking. Generally a quiet, calm, serene trip around the lake. It's fully paved, and it goes through the woods and opens up to many nice views along the bike path. And even though the loop itself is 2.7 miles, my route that day was closer to 3 miles when you add in the leg from the campsite itself to get to the trail and then back from the trail to the campsite. That's about an additional 0.3 of a mile or so. As you can see, not too many people out on the trail at this time. Various times of the day, it's busier than others. This was just a time when there weren't a lot of people out biking or walking or running on the trail. There's some people off to the right who had crossed over. And to the right, out of sight, are some recreation areas and a playground, tennis courts, hiking trails. To the left, out of sight, is the lake itself. The lake will be visible at various portions during this video. The video camera itself is a cell phone attached to a cell phone holder on the handlebars of my bicycle. Generally gives a fairly smooth video, though anytime there are bumps on the bike path, there's a little bit of shaking of the camera, which is natural. Coming up to the covered bridge, these wooden planks are going to cause a few bumps. You can see the camera shaking as I'm going over the wooden ties in the covered bridge. Coming up a little bit of a hill. It's a little bit steeper as you go here. Heading away from the lake, but then it's going to cross the road and we'll head back down the path toward the lake itself to continue the journey. Coming up to the point where the bike path crosses the road again, up ahead here. The stop sign where these pedestrians are. They're waiting for traffic. I'm coming to a stop, checking to make sure it's clear, and then continuing on up another hill. Now this is in the more wooded area of the bike path. Getting to the top of the hill where it intersects with another portion of the bike path where you can go in either direction. Taking a left further into the woods. I'm going to come around back down toward the lake. This particular area, early in the morning and toward sunset, you often see deer and other wildlife around this part of the bike path. None visible at this time in this video for this bike trip. Continuing on through the woods, going to open up just up ahead. Some more pedestrians here as we come out into the sunshine. Making sure they knew that I was passing on their left. This is more of a level or even a slightly downhill portion of the bike path. You can get a little bit of speed going. Now out fully into the clearing. Off to the left is a field, and then the road, and then the grassy area, and then the lake. To the right is all wooded. Up ahead on the right, some benches. When we're out as a family, we'll often stop here, take a rest break, and take advantage of the benches. Sit and admire the view, looking at the field, and across from that, the lake itself. Coming now to one of the main significant downhill portions of the bike path. It's a lot of fun to get up to speed here and go fast as long as there aren't any other bikers or pedestrians on the path, but you got to be careful because at the bottom of this hill, the bike path crosses the road and you don't want to dart out into traffic at high speed and have a car be coming. You've got to be careful here and adjust to your speed accordingly and be ready to stop at the bottom. Now I'm coming to a stop, checking both ways for traffic, crossing over and heading on to continue the journey. Off to the left through these trees and bushes is the lake itself. This area is a flat and level area that continues on. Some trees on either side, and then approaching a bridge across another creek. Continuing on into an open area with grass fields on either side. Another bench to admire the view and enjoy the scenery. Now continuing on along the open area, as you can see a few trees dotted along the way on each side of the bike path. Approaching another road up ahead. This is the main road that leads down to the lake on this side of the lake. So the bike path here comes to a stop as you cross the road. So stopping now, checking for traffic and continuing on across the road. Now if you continue to go straight here, you would head toward the Red House Park entrance, but taking a left is going to continue the trip around the Red House Lake itself. And this is another significant downhill area This is another area where it's fun to get up to speed. And in this area, as long as you can safely negotiate the curves, you don't need to worry about crossing a road right at the bottom of it. So curving around, coming to a flatter area, but still going at a pretty good clip here. Coming to another curve. You just need to stay to the right. Make sure you've got the bicycle under control. You're curving around. And then we come to a point where it crosses the road again. So coming to a stop here. Checking both directions for traffic and then continuing safely across the road. Up ahead, coming to another bridge. We're coming around a couple of curves and then approaching the bridge. Shaking a little as the camera bounces across that bridge. And then around the corner again. Now this is, in this direction, a fairly significant incline. So this is where you get the payback for the enjoyment of going downhill. You get the challenge of going uphill. As long as you can adjust the gears accordingly, maintain a good steady pace, you can make it up this hill. So it does get fairly steep. As you can see, you've got a retaining wall / planter on the right, and then a fence on the left, because there's a little bit of a cliff there that leads down to the spillway area that comes off the lake. That's the road up ahead that we had crossed at the top of the path, and you see the lake off to the left. As we're curving around to the right, continuing on up ahead, more woods on the right, and the lake is off across the road to the left. Path curves just a little here as we approach another stop. Stopping at this stop sign, checking all directions for traffic, and then continuing on the journey. This area, see a little bit of the lake off to the left. You've got the road and then some grass and then the lake, and then off to the right, the grassy area and the administration building or ad building for the park. Very scenic throughout this trip, but this is an especially scenic area. Seeing the ad building and then being able to look at the lake across from it. Stopping here again to check for traffic, crossing over, continuing on. Nearing the end of this bike trip, you can see this is a grassy area. There's another cross path there that goes down toward the lake itself. Continuing to stay to the right as there are other people using the path. And then coming on up ahead as the road curves around to the left to continue around the lake. The bike path goes straight here. So we're veering off from being around the lake at this point and headed up on the leg that in a minute is going to head back into the Red House tent and trailer area. We're coming around one final curve on this portion, coming to another stop sign. Traffic is clear, so crossing and now turning. This is the leg that heads back into the tent and trailer area itself. We already saw this section on the way out for the bike trip. This was a lot of fun going around the lake. Whenever I get a chance to go out and do it by myself, I enjoy going as fast as I can and pushing myself for the challenge. This particular time, it took me about 16 minutes, give or take, for the full 3 miles from start to finish. Pleasant bike ride and some good exercise. Coming to the final stop sign of the journey in the A loop itself. There's our campsite up ahead on the left. So as I come back to the campsite after that trip around Red House Lake, I want to thank you as always for supporting us. Please subscribe to our channel and like our videos. Goodbye, everyone.